Well, good morning. Top of the morning. And no, this isn't a radio. This is the one of the brake drums off the rear of my pickup. I was out of town the other day, and the brakes decided to finally wear through. So I get to do a little repair out in the field. That's a laugh a minute, but not bad. Kind of amazing what you can do with a few hand tools. This is actually pretty easy job. This was from a 2001 Chevy Silverado. It's a half-ton but heavy duty, 4-wheel drive. Yes, and for those of you watching that want to get into that argument, just save it. I'm just going to probably delete those comments that want to start a fight like that. Just thought I'd show you how this is a disc brake. They're pretty much, unless I'm mistaken, really only two types of brakes. There are drum brakes and disc brakes. And I'm just going to show you this. This is just a little quick, fun kind of, I don't know, FYI thing. So if you're up on your brake technology, that's fine. If you want to just stop by and see what's going on, that's okay. Basically what happens is this is the rotor, and the other part, one of the main parts, is the actual, what they call the caliper. And these fit here, and basically what happens is a hydraulic piston smashes these together and pinches it, sort of like the fancy brakes on your 10-speed bicycle, the older style. What's happened here is this one wore unevenly. I don't know if you can see this real well. Yeah, you can see this. This side wore through, and this is the inside caliper, and it's down to the bone. There's actually a little device in there. Right here. When it wears down, this is supposed to start rubbing and making a screeching noise. Well, if it's on the rear and you have your window up and the radio up, you don't hear the screeching noise. You can see here that they call this the scratcher. Here's the scratcher here, and it should have went off a long time ago. My hearing isn't so great, and what's happened, part of the reason I didn't hear this so much is this wore unevenly. This side wore down more. The shiny bit is the metal, and this part is the pad, so it wore a little bit uneven. The other reason is this wore unevenly side to side. You can see one side is wore way more than the other because this side hung up and couldn't travel so much. Usually at least once a year I try and take all the tires, or excuse me, all the rims and tires off the truck and look at all this stuff and actually knock it loose and make sure it's free to move. It takes about an hour. It's no big deal. It gives me a chance to look around. This year I've been so busy I didn't have a chance to, and my reward for my negligence was this little annoyance. Luckily, the little town I stopped in had apparently enough parts to get me going. Really only I bought a couple things. I bought this rotor. Actually, I bought a pair of rotors, and I'll do the other one today. And I bought a set of brakes, which consists of 4 calipers. The car parts place was kind enough to lend me a floor jack off the showroom. I offered to pay for it, and he said no problem. And they even came out and helped me a tiny bit. It was a slow day, and he was kind of curious what was going on. On this other side, you can see that it's wore, but not through. This rotor is probably no good. If they wear down a little bit, sometimes you can take them in and get this resurfaced at one of the car parts places here in North America, at least. I'm not sure. There are actual shops that specialize in this. What they do is they put this in a machine and they actually turn this like a big lathe, and they can thin these down. Although nowadays, these things are so cheap, it may not be worth messing with. They charge about $10. I used to take mine to a little guy over on the edge of town that did this professionally. That's all he did was turn brake drums. And he would take a day or two, and he did a really nice job. A lot of places just throw these in the machine and set the thing and just go whoosh one pass. This guy would take his time and make sure the thing was lined up well and take a few nice light skim passes at it to kind of keep the meat. The other reason that probably these aren't too rejuvenatable or machinable is they make them a little thin nowadays to save a few pounds of weight on the cars. This actually weighs quite a bit. I bet this weighs 20 pounds. This is also a little bit unusual. This is the rear drum, or rear rotor, but it has a drum technology. That's what this big part is in here. There's actually an emergency brake that expands in here. And it's more like the conventional, old-timey, for lack of a better word, drum brakes you'd see on an older car. I think disc brakes have pretty much dominated the world. I mean, I think they're on. If it moves and needs to stop, short of a brick and a string, I think, or a parachute, I think this is kind of the standard. We can take a lot of abuse. That's what a new set of calipers looks like. This was a set. Actually, this set, believe it or not, this small set is from the rear of the vehicle, and this giant set is from the front. The fronts usually wear out before the rears, and my experience has been 3 to 1. You'll do 3 front brake jobs for every 1 you do on the rear. So you'll do, you'll have the factory one, you replace it. You'll have an aftermarket one, you replace it. Then the third set, you replace them all. That's just average for a new vehicle you know something about. Depends on your driving habits. I'm kind of light of foot, so I don't ride the brakes too much, I don't think. Anyway, I just thought I'd show you that real quickie. This is more than likely something you could do at home. I think even a small child could do a brake job, other than the fact that maybe they lack the physical strength to wrench some of the tools. Be aware that some of the nuts and bolts on brake systems are really on there. Some of them actually have thread locking compound and were probably impact driven on. They want to make damn sure they don't fail. You don't need 10 million cars running around with recall on their brakes. It would be a bad thing. Brake parts aren't terribly expensive. If you get a brake job at a store that does that, or one of the combination shops, they can charge you, I don't know, $500, $700 here in the States. I think a big part of it is labor. The parts aren't very expensive, although I think what they do is they drive across town to the local car parts place that you drive to and buy the parts. I don't think they stock that stuff. The other trick too is, I think they jack that up. There's a certain amount of liability. If you do your brakes and they come out wrong, yeah, somebody's going to answer for it. So there you go, just a few little pieces and bits about brakes on cars and what they look like. I thought maybe somebody was curious what they looked like, and a few of the terminologies, and there you go. Take it easy. Have a groovy day.